So here we are, and because it's big and loose, we've been working that way. Let's go back to vert mode. It's the way I like to work. You may prefer to move other things or scale or whatever, but let's go drag those in, pull that out a little bit so I can bring these way in. I need to leave enough room there for that shuttle to have landed, right? So let's just leave that vert, but bring this one way in. Even more. In fact, I may just get rid of some of these vertices at some point, but I'll leave them for the moment. Bring that way in. Let's bring both of these just, again, way in. And you can rotate these too, so I can adjust the tension on those. This edge, I don't know that I even want, so let me just merge that and see how it feels, and then bring these way in. And so I got some weird stuff going on over here now, but let's make it look how we want, right? That's what we're doing. So first I'll get my rough shape. That brings it in. I think I want to pinch this here. I don't remember what I didn't merge, so let me do that first. Object mode and split right here, like that. So I can bring that in and make a much tighter thing there. I'll probably just get rid of that. Maybe, yeah. That feels better right there. So let's merge those. Okay, I'm working kind of fast because there's a lot to kind of cover and show. And actually, I don't know that we actually need that. What if I just do that and that cleans it up a little bit? It's not so much cleaning up for the mesh itself as it's going to render well. It's more cleaning it up for you. Like I ended up with this weird thing here. I probably could cut across like so and make it cleaner, but I'll only really do that if I need to add more detail into an area later, right? I'm not going to do it until I need that. I'm modeling for my ability to create the play space I want. Then when the shape is formed, then you go back and remodel it in order to make it render better, to make it render efficiently, to do all that. So remember, two different ways to model. A lot of modeling is taught, you know, as if you're going to go make this beautiful thing from start to finish, and that is rarely the case when you're doing level design stuff. Okay, so that feels tighter. Let's just switch over and test it, right? Rather than making presumptions, because that's why we do it this way, right? So here I am. All right, that already looks better to me, look-wise. That feels pretty good. I can come to an edge. That feels like I didn't have to go too far. I can come around here. That's pretty cool. So this, I was going to chop this off, but actually I kind of like the idea that it goes to a hidden ledge. So actually now I think I'm going to nudge this out a little more because that just feels cooler, right? And then over here, oh, and if I had a block, like if you couldn't actually see right here, if this was a hill, so it kind of forced you into a little channel, then I'd have a really neat reveal over there, because remember I wanted to do, where's it at? I wanted to look across right here from some old ruins and then see this open cliff ledge. So, haha, I'm coming right up on that. Okay, let's save in Unity, go back to Maya. Now I know what I want to do. So let me, first of all, just pick these two, move them in, because that's going to be awesome. I don't know if I need a little more there. I do want a pinch point there. That felt pretty good size-wise, so I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to, let's do this, just to get things kind of moving. Pull these up, take these three edges, and use my old friend extrude. Pull that up. And I want these fairly high. So I'm going to make them a little bigger than the shuttle, but I don't want them as tall as this, because psychologically I want this area to look less imposing than this big area, right? So I'm going to do that and pull it out just a touch. And over here, for now, I'll just leave this edge ragged. I don't really care. I don't know what I want to do over there yet, so I'm going to leave it alone. Put a little bit of a dip here, a little bit of a peak there to make it a bit more mountain-ish. Pull that up. And also I will pull this in just a pinch. No, I won't. That looks terrible. I'll leave that alone. Okay, so that's good enough to create a little barrier for the moment. And then across the way, see now what we're going to need, let's actually look at it. Keep going in and out of Maya and Unity, Maya to Unity. Don't model for very long without testing it, right? So that feels pretty good. I feel like I'm in a, see, it looks a little taller than I expected it to, but that's still actually pretty cool and the line, right? See, notice what I did here? You're forming really important basics. Let me back up so I can show you this. So if I'm standing here talking to Lieutenant Johnson, finish those soil samples, Johnson. Look what's going on. I can't move the mouse, right, because it's going to go all over. But look at the left at the shuttle, and the shuttle looks really big and important. I've kind of framed it like a shot, right, like a photo. It's in one of those interest points in the upper left interest point, right, kind of coming in off screen, and it's pointing, its angle's pointing towards the distant wall. And then that distant wall comes up at a different angle and starts leading the eye, right? Like from over here, sorry, really twitchy on this controller, up here and then down here. So it's the whole landscape and all the objects are leading me over to the right very subtly, which is way cooler than just a bunch of junk sitting there, right? So now it's telling me, hey, why don't you go over there and check this out, right? That's pretty great. I think that's pretty great. We look over there and see, wow, okay, it's leading me down around this thing. And I can see, though, that it isn't quite the pinch point I wanted because I wanted to come around something and then come forward and see it. So I'm going to need to tighten that up. And I'll show you what I mean here. So again, see, I would have gone off modeling thinking I was on the right path, and I wasn't. So I really like those lines, but what I now know from being in the game, and switch to the right tool. You go back and forth enough, you'll do that. It's awesome. Okay. Happy accents, right? So I really want to tighten that up. And I now know that I also want this stuff to come out. So let's see, what do I want to do? I probably want to bring this, want that to look a little tight too. So let's just extrude this out for the moment. Bum, bum, bum. So that's going to be kind of the thing that looks over at the other side. I don't quite know where it's pointing, but let's just get the feel of this right. So see, here's another thing. If I come around this corner, right, in order to sit over here and block that, if I have the interesting view right here, you can still see it down the line. I'm going to have to actually point it off in this other direction, right? So it's going to have to be kind of a tight corner, and that's too tight. I'll smooth it out, but that's starting to look a lot better. And then I know I'll probably want to emphasize that tight corner a little bit, like it's part of the whole canyony thing. So pull that up and back. Dun, 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 dun. Whoops, I'm twisting that around. Let me do it this other way. Pull those in. Just drag that whole thing. And these things I'm going to join up at some point, so I'll just snap those for now. That's a terrible piece of geometry merge, but for the moment it'll work. And then I want another cut in here. So I get it where I can see that. Choose my split tool. Put a big chop in that. Select all three of them and just give it a little better shape. All right, so that's a little better. This is still kind of a hard edge, but again, I'm just roughing it in to get it right. And let's extrude this up. See how fast you can do this stuff? Just really don't worry too much about some of the geometry and such, and everything goes better. Actually, let me just, for good measure, merge all of that stuff. Okay. So let's save that. Let's go back into Unity. Take a peek at that. Run. And where are we at? Okay. So here we go. Johnson, soil samples. Going looking. So here I go. I'm looking around. I can see there's something interesting going on. I'm getting some weirdness with my textures now, and that's all right. Sometimes you'll get this weird checkerboardy stuff as you extrude and do things. So there, I can't see through the opening. And probably I'm going to want to make that back area taller and really differentiate it rather than this front one or something. But for now, come around this. So now I have to come around this corner and I go, oh, wow. And now I can look out and see that cool vista, right? So right in here, I could put some of that stuff. Let me actually stop playback for a second. So here I was talking about coming around and having a view and looking out at the big open hole of the ruins. And this is why I said you can't make decisions on paper right here, because I didn't know, right? I mean, I could have thought about it a little more, but I didn't know how cool the sightline was or was not going to be until I got in here and started doing it. So this right here is much more interesting in Serpentine, but what it means is I can't have the map this way anymore. I'm actually going to have to take this whole section right here and kind of rotate it by 45 degrees and have it be more over here. And that's fine, right? Because this isn't looking that way now. It's looking this way, more like where my arrow was. So that's all fine. And actually that's better. It's better that you make games this way. So let's, for fun, now that that's going on, actually, you know what? Let me make sure I've got, Maya really quick. Choose this object. And let's just do a, under UVs, let's do just an automatic mapping, which will be a terrible thing. But if we look back over here onto Unity, see, it's kind of smoothed it up a little bit. So it's not quite as weird. We get back to the white area, but if we... it'll help get rid of some of those streamy things. So you can nudge that as you go along. Or the other thing you could do here is you could pick it this way and do, say, whoops, didn't mean that. Do like planar mapping, which just could map it down, you know, or map it by faces or whatever. So you can adjust a mapping if you know it. If you know UV mapping, you can just kind of hit a button and at least get some kind of change, you know, like this. So now if I back the tiling off back to 1 by 1. See, it's changed it again. So it may not be good. I could appropriately UV map this, but I don't want to go into that right now. But still, even with that, right, I've kind of UV mapped from the sides. So now even if I play this way, I've still got a breakup between height and that for the moment. So, you know, you may have to play around with that a little bit. I might do a breakout video and show you guys a little bit of UV mapping if it turns out you guys don't know it. But probably what I would do is UV map the floor really quick, planar, then these other pieces just to get different shapes. But that's me. I know how to model really well. So anyway, let me know in the feedback if you'd like more info on that, or maybe you guys know all about this in modeling and we can just go on.